Okay, we're live. Welcome to the Pinkhouse. I have an exciting guest that I'd like to introduce to the Pinkhouse audience, and that is Miss Angela Renee. And we oftentimes talk to our caregivers, we talk to entrepreneurs, and we talk to survivors. And today, we're going to talk to a special kind of caregiver because it's just as important as if it was your spouse, your child, your parent, and that's when our fur babies get sick. Angela Renee, to be full disclosure, she's a mentor of mine in Lawn Life, and I'm so happy that she's been able to squeeze out some time to talk to the audience because you're going to love her story. You're going to love Gracie's story. And so without further ado, we're going to let her introduce herself and tell us a little bit about her and the challenges that she's having with Gracie. So introduce yourself, Angela.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Angela Renee, aka Pocket Angie. And it's I don't know if it's infamous or what, but I am a single chick from Atlanta, Georgia, and I have a daughter that has this incredible love for animals, and I hated dogs with an extreme passion. And I was a cat mom for sure. And we, through a series of life events, like I'm sure all of you guys have experienced before, we landed ourselves out of our dream home that we built with our daughter into a rental. And she took it really well, but wanted a dog. Like, she wanted a dog so badly. And her dad said, well, once we get into our own home, you can have a dog. And she remembered that. She said it over and over and over again. And
how old was she when that promise was made to her, Angie? How old was she?
She was in preschool. So she was like 4.
Okay. So
she was like 4 or 5 years old. Yeah.
And yeah, they don't forget at that age.
She did not forget. So, squeeze through to, 4 or 5 years later, we're buying our new house, and we closed on the paperwork. She was in the lawyer's office with us. We signed the line, and she goes, when am I getting my dog? And again, remember, I don't like dogs. So, my husband at the time, her dad, started looking for these like mid-sized to big dogs. And I'm like, oh no, we need a dog that thinks they're a cat. Please. And so I got to looking at it. I was like, I'll handle this, as us women tend to do, right?
Right.
So I was like, I'll handle this. And so I started looking around at the pounds here locally. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. So I started looking at the pounds and on the website, and I found this dog, and she was a Chihuahua Dotson mix, and her name was Mamacita.
Oh, wow.
And we didn't know how old she was, but they thought she was around 2 years old. She has extreme anxiety. She could not be in general population, so they had her set aside in the manager's office, and she was promised to another family. And I still went to look at her to even just kind of see if this kind of dog was small enough for me. Because remember, I wanted a cat. I didn't want a dog, but I didn't want a cat because I wanted them to go outside. That's a whole other thing. So I went, and it was storming outside. Remember the aforementioned anxiety. And the manager brought her into like one of those kennels for us to be able to like bond with her and see if it worked, whatever. And it was raining. She had high anxiety. I remember it plain as day. I sat down in blue jeans and an Old Navy t-shirt, and she relaxed into me. The minute I held her, she went,
wow.
And all of her craziness and her anxiety and shivering and crying and all went away in a moment.
Went away. Wow.
It all went away. And again, she was promised to another family. And so I walked away from there going, I don't know if she's small enough, but I'm happy that I was able to give her that time of not being anxious. And I called back, and sure enough, that family called and said that she was too small for them. And so then
Oh, wow.
when I called back, they're like, well, they said that they're too small. You're next on the list. What do you think? And I'm like, I think she's too big for me. And then Megan didn't know about the dog yet. Megan's dad said, I've never seen you behave that way with a dog. And I was like, I think she needs me. And so I got her. I went and we got her. She pulled all of her stitches out from having been fixed. So I had to take her back to the pound to deal with that. It was a whole thing. And I was substitute teaching at the time every single day. So I was gone out of the home for like 8 hours. And I felt like she needed a sister. She needed a playmate. So I got to looking for another one and I found Lacey. Fast forward.
So you went from not wanting a dog to not only getting one dog, but getting 2 dogs.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And so, and that was Megan's dog. So now I was looking for my dog that was going to be her playmate. And I'm like, I need a smaller dog. Like Gracie is big enough, but she's not small enough. So, so I went to looking for another one. And I found Lacey on Craigslist. And family said, and listen, I do not condone that kind of stuff, but I was looking at places of dogs that needed a home, right? Mm-hmm. And this family said that they were moving out of the country. Come to find out, she is a full-blooded Chihuahua. She's 6 months old. She has a hernia. They did not disclose to us. Wow. She had not been fixed. She went into heat the day after we got her.
Oh my God.
So we got her fixed immediately when we got her. Cut to my mom moved in that same time frame. Cut to years later, my mom died.
Oh wow!
In our home, and the dogs were on either side of her to tell her goodbye that night. They had such a connection with her and such a bond with her that they wanted to say goodbye in those moments. It was weird but cool.
Right.
Cut to 2022 has been a very difficult year. Lacey started having seizures in 2020 and all of 2021. And then 2022, they got more severe. And they could not trace where they were from. There was no evidence of a tumor or anything like that. And so we had her on anti-seizure medicine. She had a heart murmur. Ultimately, she died of basically heart failure.
Wow. And was the medicine contributory to that, or do they not know?
I don't think they know. We didn't do an autopsy or anything like that, but I was with her till her final breath, and thankfully, what I do for work, I was able to be with her that entire last week that she was drawing breath. So I literally held her on my chest. Cut to, here we are with Gracie now. Lacey passed away September the 2nd of 2022. And Gracie now, poor thing, she is in kidney failure. And so she has 25% function of her kidneys. Now, she's 17 years old, maybe older than that. We really don't know. I've had her since May of 2008. I've had Gracie.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, long time. Yeah.
So she has lived a very, very long life. Her short time before she got to me was traumatic. She still has issues with loud noise. She still really doesn't like the rain, but luckily now she doesn't hear very well. So the fireworks don't affect her much more anymore. Okay. And she doesn't hear like thunder and stuff like that. She feels it, but she doesn't hear it as much. So that's good. But I'm just loving her now and in the space that she is, and knowing every day that we wake up is a gift, and giving her medicine and stuff.
That's what I was going to ask you about, because I always hear you talk about her IVs and stuff. So I know that's got to be challenging, one, learning how to do it or what have you. What are some of the challenges have you had with her medication?
Yeah, so she's in full kidney failure, 25% function, and the vet said it's absolutely important that we keep her organs hydrated. And she has to make sure that she, she has hydration, so she doesn't drink if she doesn't eat or anything like that, then we have to give her sub-Q fluids. And luckily, my daughter is the one who actually administers it. I get to love on the doggy and pet her and give her peanut butter and all of that. So it's really amazing that I'm able to do that with her.
How often do you guys have to give her the IV fluids? How often do you have to do that?
According to the vet said the vet said about every 2 weeks, or no, that's wrong. About twice a week we should do it.
Okay.
But we don't do it every or twice a week because we just do it when when like we see her getting puny.
Okay.
And that sounds like a really weird thing to say, of her looking puny, but she can run like the wind. But when her legs start dragging behind her and her hips don't want to quite work right, I know that she's
You
puny.
can tell. Yeah. It reminds me of I had a orange tabby years ago named Rusty, and got her as a kitten from a coworker. And I mean, that was my chumpy. That was my little sidekick. And what amazes me is that our fur babies can develop so many issues that like humans get. That's one of the things that surprised me. And I found out with Rusty, because Rusty developed thyroid disease. And what they wanted to do at the time was a $1,200 surgery. And it was no guarantee that if they removed the one side that was affected, that it wouldn't come back again. And I just couldn't afford it. So then the ultimate suggestion they gave me was it was a specialty food that was like, I think at that time for like 24 cans, it was like maybe 50 some bucks or something like that. And so I did that for like 3 years until it really just got to the point that she just wasn't going to continue on the way she was going.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, because she's actually on a specialty diet as well. She is on a kidney diet, and I think for 10 cans, it's about $50. Luckily, she doesn't eat a can a day. She eats a can about every day and a half. So it lasts us a little bit longer, but yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah.
I'm fortunate with what I do that I'm able to supplement that for sure. But it was definitely a consideration. It was a consideration with Lacey because they wanted to send us to UGA to have things done for her. And we had no idea if it would work or not. We didn't know. They're like, we could do more exploratory stuff and see if it's a full brain tumor or any of that. And we can't guarantee she's going to get any better. They could do surgery on the heart murmur and close it, but there's no guarantee she'll get better. And there was no guarantee she'd live through the surgery.
Right. See, and that was the issue with Rusty. Then it was like, yeah, and it was just a whole lot of money that I didn't have to invest in it. But it's very traumatic because they are your family members. A lot of times people that aren't pet lovers or owners, they can't really relate to it, because to them, oh, it's just a pet. You can get another, but they really are like your family members. You get so, it's just that's what it is. Especially if you got them when they were young, you helped raise them to that point. They've always been there, and they love unconditionally. So even when you're going through ups and downs, they still loving on you.
Well, and that's the thing with mine, since she relaxed into me, really, she changed me, and I wasn't a dog lover. I love dogs now. Like, I dog sit for other people now. I love dogs so much, which is so weird for me. But I truly do. I love animals, and she became my family. She was with me when my daughter left to go to, live with her dad. She was with me when my mom died. She was with me with that entire year of solitude. And I say they both were. And I don't know where I would have been without them. And that sounds so weird to say about a pet, but they were
I get it.
To me as any family.
Pet owners get it. Yeah, pet owners get it, because it's that connection. Because I can remember if I was having a really bad day, and maybe even expressing it by crying or something, I can remember Rusty would come up and nuzzle. They do, and so I get it 100%. Yeah. Sometimes I tell people all the time that I'm a proponent for animal therapy because people don't realize how much they can pull you out of a dark place. You know what I mean? Just by the way they interact with you, especially when you're going through some heavy stuff. And I know, like you
Completely
said, if
agree.
it wasn't for having the animals that I've had, who knows where you'd be because they have definitely helped to pull you out of a dark space. And that's one of the reasons why I thought this was important too, because oftentimes the women that I talk to that are dealing with a disease process on their own may sometimes find themselves also having to deal with a pet that's in this circumstance too. And so it can be very challenging, to do that because, like I said, it's just like, and with pets, most people don't have pet insurance. So you paying for everything out of pocket
Right.
and it's just expensive. It's just an expense that you would take on. But people that have them, they don't even think about it. You know what I mean? It's second nature when the doctor says something, unless it's something like a surgery that's going to cost you thousands of dollars or something. You automatically go into that mode. Okay, I got to do this and do that to help my pet. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, with Lacey, she had to be on a shot not a shot. I say a shot. It was a syringe with no needle every morning and every
Okay.
night. Like she had to have
Wow.
medication. And I remember going, how am I going to afford this? So it was a
Yeah.
lot. It was a lot.
Yeah.
But that worked me up to what I had to do with Gracie. Because never in a million years would I have thought that I would have been bringing an IV bag home and my
Right.
daughter would be learning how to do an IV, and we're doing one tonight. We
Right.
sit with the dog and love on the dog while she's having to get these fluids, and it goes very, very quickly,
Oh,
but
that's
at
what I
the
was going to
same
ask you. When
time
you do the infusion, how long is the process? It's fast.
it's well, I say it takes as long as one TV show, because
Okay.
typically I call the jab, you got to get the jab, so I try to like calm her down and get her situated. We give her a
Right.
little bit of CBD oil about 30 minutes ahead of time so that she calms down,
Okay.
and it takes the edge off. My vet would not agree to that, but I have found that is necessary for her. So we do that, and then it kind of gives her a few minutes to just be okay, and I'll sit with her and have her like on a pillow. And
Okay.
again, I get to be the comfort person. I don't have to be the one that jabs. And
Okay.
so Megan comes in and she jabs, and you find what you have to do in the moment and you just make it work.
Yeah.
She was having a difficult time now that she knows what's coming, sitting there. And so now we give her peanut butter in a little cup and rub it
Okay.
around the inside of the cup so that she has to, like, as a
Work
game,
at
get it
it.
out
Yeah.
while the IV's being administered. So like
Okay.
she stays still because she's got the peanut butter.
Right.
You do what you have to do. We needed an IV pull, so we look around. We used a ladder, an A-frame ladder, and a pants um, hanger. You use what you have to
Okay.
use in the moment to just make it work and
It's very resourceful and innovative.
make your fur kids
Yeah.
okay. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You work with what you have to do, and us women, we figure things out pretty easily.
Yeah. And so, for the most part, even though I guess with them, we sort of gauge by their behavior and stuff. So, does she seem like really just calm, like not in distress and all of that, or how is she doing?
It depends on the day. Yesterday was a
Okay.
great day. Today has not been a great day, honestly.
Okay.
Um, this morning I chose to luxuriate in the bathtub all morning long. And when I say all morning, I mean all morning. I was there for a good 3 hours. I was fine with it. And great. I was fine with it. Gracie next to me, on the floor on the bath mat, just laid out and just got really low to the ground and laid there. And then my daughter walked in. She goes, "It's a little cold in here. Gracie needs a heater." So Megan went and got Gracie's little electric sun, and Gracie moved closer and then just laid on the ground.
Oh,
And
so she could be
it's just
warm.
She needs to be warm, so we have a little electric blanket that we put over. It's the size of a baby blanket. Not that you would put an electric blanket on a baby, but it's a heating pad that's like a baby blanket size, and I'll put that over her back legs, so when she stays cold now, that part of her body that wears faster, right?
Right.
She can have extra heat coming to that portion of her body and feel better. So that's kind of something that I've done that
is so, look, I can already say that is so interesting because, you know, I've spoken before, but I have really bad knees. And that is one of the things when I'm working at the computer, when it's really cold and I feel it, I will put my heating pad across my knee. So I get it. Yeah. Because it'll help at least keep them limber enough so they don't really stiffen up on you so bad. So, oh yeah, I get it.
And I noticed in the mornings when she got up to walk, after she stretched, she would be okay until she went outside. And when she went outside, and she literally just took like 3 steps outside to go pee in the morning, and then come back in, and she couldn't walk. And I was like, it's gotta be the cold. It's gotta be the cold. And so, and also I do gauge that as her being puny as well. But once I started applying that heat, it was like things changed. And when she's hot, she'll just wiggle out of it, and she'll just still sit where she's sitting, and she'll just wiggle out of it, and she's like, I'm good now. It's the coolest thing. I would have never thought.
How long has she been in kidney failure? How long have you guys been dealing with this illness with her?
I think that we only have known now for about 3 months.
Okay, so not real long. Okay. Yeah.
No, because Lacey died September the 2nd, and we went to Disney World. It's what I do to reset when I'm feeling a little. I go to. No joke. I go to Disney World.
If it works for you, that's wonderful. Yeah.
It's kind of like my reset button. So I reset, and she went to the vets, so I knew she would be okay. And when we got back in October, once I finally got her to start eating again, which is normal for her when she goes to the vet. Once I got her to start eating again, then she started going potty like every 20 to 30 minutes, asking to go outside. And it wasn't like she asked to go outside to run around. She was actually pottying every 20 to 30 minutes. And I was like, did she get a urinary tract infection at the vet? Like, did something happen? Yeah. Did she not go out enough? What happened? And so I took her to the vet with collection of urine, because again, moms, we know things. So I took her to the vet with a collection of urine. I'm like, I think she may have a urinary tract infection. I don't really know, maybe a kidney infection. And they ran tests, and it came back negative. Ran tests again, and they're like, her kidneys, something seems a little off. And so they did some more testing, and she came back and she said, you're in kidney failure, 25% functioning. And I asked her in that moment, because of what I went through with my mom, going through hospice and everything, I'm a planner. I can handle things if I understand what's happening. And so I said, are we talking about like, this is something that we're going to handle for the rest of her life, and she's going to live a good, happy life? Or is this, we're in hospice and we need to make her comfortable? And the vet said to me, if she were younger, I would give her about 5 or 6 months to live with this condition. Wow. So when I said earlier that every day that she wakes up is a gift, I really do believe that. Yeah. Even the mornings that she scratches on the door and makes me scream, those days are true too. But I'm still thankful when we wake up that we have another day together. So yeah, I guess that's a long way to answer what you asked.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. Yeah. Because again, you're still having experiences, and even though she might not be able to do a whole lot, just her presence and still being there, you're still making memories or what have you. So yeah. But it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, as long as she still has more good days over bad days, then I'm okay. Yeah. But when it starts to like turn that corner, then obviously we might have to start considering goodbyes.
Yeah. Because my other question was, now with the condition she has, did the vet say like, does she have like a pain level, or she's not in pain, or what's the situation with that?
That's the puniness, really.
Okay.
So she's like, if she looks puny, give her an IV. It'll help her out.
Okay.
So they haven't given us pain medicine. They didn't really kind of talk about that, which is why that's why I did the CBD.
Right. Okay.
If she looks like she's in pain, then we will just administer that to her.
Right. Okay. And how's Megan dealing with, is she, besides being able to do the jab, how's she processing the eventuality of what's happening with Gracie?
I don't know that she has processed it yet, to be honest with
Okay.
you. I don't know that she has.
Okay.
She doesn't
And that's
handle death very
understandable.
well, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. That's a whole nother conversation for another day, but she's had a lot of death trauma in her life. Megan has. So
Wow.
although when Lacey died, she took over. I couldn't function when Lacey died.
Okay.
And Megan stepped in and became the mom for a minute because I couldn't function.
Okay.
And so Megan stepped in with disposal of the body and all of that. So I don't know what the answer to that question is. It's very, very interesting. I hadn't thought about it, but I don't think that she's even considered it.
Really process. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if for younger people, that I could see that too, probably because one, she's still there and she's actively doing stuff for her to help her. And so that might too be in the lane some of the other final thoughts, because she's still doing something to actively try to keep her comfortable and help her along the way. Yeah. But it's a good thing, because oftentimes when I hear those stories on the news, or you get the newsletter from Barks, and you talk about so many abandoned animals that aren't being cared for, it just always is heartwarming to see that even when you have an animal that is sick and have challenges, people are still loving and caring enough about them, because it's not like you dispose them just because they're sick. I mean, we don't do that to each other. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so
yeah, absolutely.
it's just all.
In fact, and what you're saying made me think of something. When the hurricanes came through Haiti many, many years ago, I remember my daughter going, "Can we adopt some of the dogs?" I was like, I don't think we can do that. Oh, she was so sweet. She was probably 12, but she was like, can we adopt some of those dogs? And I'm like, no. I wouldn't even begin to know where to start to do that. No, sorry. Can't do that.
And that's what you always, when you always see, that always stands out when you have those disasters, and then it's like, what are they going to do with the animal, all the animals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is really a heartwarming story. I think it's encouraging because, like I said, people that tend to deal with the disease processes of humans don't necessarily think about the challenges that people have when they have a fur baby that they love and care for that has a disease process. It's equally as challenging, because you're dealing with life and death, health and illness. And so, it just, the difference is it's an animal and a human, and but that's still been a part of your family. You said she's 17 for all of that's as long as I've been on my regular job. So that's a long time, because I feel like I've been there forever. So that's a long time.
Yeah, and it's a guesstimation. She's been with us since 2008.
Wow. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not going to keep you, honey. I just wanted to share this story because I get to see the little snippets that you show of Gracie and when you talk about it. But I knew it was something that I think the Pinkhouse audience would really love and benefit from. One, for somebody to know they're sick, that's encouraging to see that they're not alone, and just to hear, how you love on her. And that's amazing too. That basic ingredient that humans respond to is the same ingredient that our animals need as well. And that's to be loved and cared for. And so I want to say thank you, Angela Renee, for sharing your story with us. I really appreciate it. Do you have any encouragement for anybody that's dealing with a sick animal? Something, a word or pearl of wisdom that you want to share?
Oh, Lord. I would just say, if you're going through a struggle with your animal, just understand it's not forever. It's a season of life, and you have to have the bad or the down to enjoy the good or the up. And, you know, remember the Lion King. It really is the circle of life. It truly is, not to be glib or anything like that, but it really is the circle of life. And to have the happiness of the lifetime, you have to embrace the death.
Yeah.
And so it's loving them well in those moments as well.
Yeah. Oh, I really appreciate that. And I know my audience does too. Stay there. I'm going to end the recording, but I want you to stay there for a moment.
Okay.